Live, Studio 3, this is Packaging Today with Evelio Matos, Adam Peak, and Cory Connors. Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Monday, January 9th. We've got me, Evelio Matos, host of Packaging Unboxed, and Cory Connors at Corrugated Everywhere.
Good morning.
Host of Sustainable Packaging Podcast. And we've got Adam Peak at Packaging Pastor on the TikToks and host of People of Packaging.
That's right. Lots of peas.
Yeah, dude. That's
Pastor People of Packaging.
Peas and weenuses. That's all we do.
Easy they.
Yeah.
That was with a W for all of you listening.
Weenus. Yeah, it's your elbow skin. Get your head out of the gutter.
Yeah, geez,
right.
Come on. I don't know what they're thinking.
Good stuff. So what do we got in the news? We got a lot of stuff happening in the news. We've got plastic bans. We've got artificial intelligence. We've got, you name it. There's a lot happening in packaging today. So just let us know if anybody's even watching this. Just throw in where you're watching from in the comments. We got Anger already. We got Rajiv coming in from India. Love it. So just let us know where you're watching from. At least it makes us not feel so alone. So we appreciate that.
We're never alone. We never walk alone.
Yeah, that's right. There's always just one pair of footsteps in the suit.
It was then that Evelio carried the show.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
I actually had a question if I can start it. Because I noticed, oh wow, people are coming in from all over. But
Baltimore,
Atlanta.
Hi, I'm
Victoria.
in Delaware. No one's from Delaware yet. Spain. Oh man, we're
yes,
intercontinental.
We are.
Okay, so while you're saying hi to everybody, I saw a question here that maybe our friend Rajiv could answer, and let me pull it up. It was in the pack chat. If you're unfamiliar with the Institute of Packaging Professionals, the IOPP, it's a great organization. I am a member of the IOPP, and their pack chat is great. I know, Evelio. I'm down with OPP.
That's right. Let's go, dude.
So okay. So here is the question that came up. The question is for anyone who ships product to India. Was curious how other companies have interpreted the new law that India has about shipping them packaging containing plastic. It's been interpreted by people at my company that we cannot ship any plastic bag or sheet there that is less than 2 mil. It would be very disruptive, and we're scrambling to figure out options. It would mainly present problems with plastic bags because they're less than 1 mil and stretch wrap. So
I'm assuming that's part of the plastic bag ban that's happening globally, right?
Yeah.
Where if it's less than 2 mil, then the question is whether you can or can't import it, right? Because I think Canada is going through a similar thing, and England is as well.
Yep.
So like while Rajiv hops on his PC to hopefully provide some information on this, I think the broader point here is like when you push for these plastic bans, right? These plastic bag bans and single-use plastic bans across the board. Like how does that work its way through the rest of the system, right? Because if you've got anything that's less than 2 mils, then that impacts everybody, right? Like stretch wrap, like I wouldn't have even thought about stretch wrap, but stretch wrap is so critical in just the transportation and the protection of this stuff.
Sorry, Rajiv just asked if he can speak. We haven't quite figured out how to bring people up, and so apologies. It would be awesome if we could, but
yeah, send me your. Let us know what your email is, Rajiv, and I'll send you a way to hop on here.
Oh, hey.
What's this? We're gonna do this first time ever.
All right.
Surprise special guest. I love it.
Love it. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, you were talking about this plastic ban, or the plastic bag ban. And so this is in Canada, it's in India, it's in
England.
Okay.
Here's Paul. This is who showed the first post I saw yesterday.
Of course you are, Paul. You're driving this. Yeah. So Paul, let us, like, how else is this going to impact us, right? And I think everybody's going to have the brands that they're working with, asking them, how is this? Oh, and in Spain as well, since January 1st, right? So if I'm making paper bags and I've got to get them into Spain, India, Canada, England,
right?
You still need stretch wrap, right? And the reason that you need stretch wrap is because when you palletize this and you've stretch wrapped it, the whole purpose is that it doesn't tip over, that it doesn't get damaged. Check this out. We got Rajiv coming in hot. The brands they're working with, asking them, how is this?
Nice
and it's
meeting you
as well
guys.
since January 1st. Hey. Right, all right, Rajiv,
Yeah.
if you can, I think there's an echo there. If you can mute your speaker, it'd be awesome. And I've got to get them into Spain, India, Canada, England. Right. Still need stretch wrap, right? And the reason that you need stretch wrap is because
we're still getting some feedback, Rajiv, from your from there. All right, there we go. Yeah, we're hearing ourselves, like we're hearing the replay of it. So there's something funky going on.
So
Nice
meeting
you guys.
January 1st. Hey, all right, Rajiv.
This is what happened.
So I've moved Rajiv out. He's still here.
This is what happened.
Well, yeah, we'll get it sorted out. Yeah. So again, stretch wrap, you have all these different purposes for it. It protects not just the packaging, but the driver. I mean, we've seen where, right. I mean, I'm sure you've got some examples that you've seen in the past, Cory, where things don't go well because the wrong stretch wrap was used.
It's a massive difference if you use the wrong stretch film. It can ruin an entire load. It can ruin millions of dollars worth of package material. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen trucks just tip over. We've seen massive accidents happen because of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if we'll try this again one more time with Rajiv. So what are you seeing in India with this plastic bag ban?
He's still muted.
The plastic bags under 20 microns, I guess, is a recent, very recent thing. But especially as far as we Indians are concerned, people always try to find a way out of a situation, and we do stuff. But as far as the international trade is concerned, and when you are importing stuff, I think that will be difficult to import. That's for sure. I fully agree with that part. But in India, the local sellers and all that guys selling stuff in the plastic bag, they always circumvent the the law, and they always try to find a way out of a situation. But for the export and import of goods, I think they might be very strict. But if you need me, I can definitely have a look at the situation and try to find the real what is going on, and I can help you out, guys, with the report in a day or two. I can
Thank
find
you,
it
sir.
out.
Thank you so much.
Rajiv, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that.
Sure.
So if we can report back next week, Rajiv, with some information, that'd be great.
Absolutely. I'll give you a complete. I'll try to find the actual government notification about the details of the plastic they are allowing to import and they are disallowing to import, so that it makes easy for you guys for the import-export stuff.
Excellent.
You'll be our first on-scene reporter. We can't wait.
Rajiv,
Yeah,
what part of India are you in?
Happy to help you anytime.
Oh, Rajiv, what part of India are you in?
I'm from Gujarat state.
Is that hang on, north?
It's in the east, I guess. Hang on. Let me send you the map.
Oh, okay. Well,
That
I can
is
look that
much
up too.
easier
I
to
also
find.
have the internet.
All right. All right. Hey, Rajiv, thanks so much for hopping on here. I'm gonna bump you off. We'll get back to it, and then we'll talk to you next week. Looking forward to it.
Sure. Thank you, Evelio. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks a
sir.
lot,
Absolutely.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Awesome.
That was awesome. Look at that, first time.
Yeah.
Then
On-scene reporter
yeah, look
live
at that.
from
Right.
India.
I've sent hey Paul, I sent you a link as well if you want to hop on here. You know, we've got Colombia was the first one to ban stretch wrap, so we'll see how that works out. If it works out great, I'll take credit as a Colombian. If it doesn't,
Then you're American.
don't look at me. Yeah, stretch.
What
I
are you
mean,
guys
stretch
playing
wrap
me
is
for? I'm
critical.
American.
There's now paper stretch wrap. There's now a seaweed-based compostable stretch film that's in process. There are some major changes coming for plastics, as we all know. But I'm excited to see the different things that are coming through the ranks here.
Yeah, and
We need them.
yeah, but you mentioned all right. So you mentioned paper stretch wrap, and I think one of the
Yep.
things that we're looking at is as we eliminate plastic from all these different areas and we replace it with paper, then we're having additional issues, right? Then we're having paper shortages. We're having,
right.
I mean, there's just so many. Again, it's like one little change can impact so many of us in so many different ways.
Right.
Yeah, it's like what's the if a butterfly?
Yeah, the butterfly effect.
Then the cost of paper goes up 15%. Something like that is the way the story goes.
I've heard that.
Yeah, it's been really like obviously I think we've talked about like the cotton tote crisis and or the reusable bag problem that's happening in like New Jersey where people are like, I don't know, I've got 150 of these bags. I don't know
what do I do with them. Right.
So they've replaced a less than 2 mil LDPE bag with a 2 pound reusable tote. That's that can't be recycled.
Not recyclable, right?
Yeah, it's oh, shots fired.
Bam.
Boom. Yes, Jonathan, we hear you, and I think we're all concerned with what's going to happen here.
Yeah, Jonathan was born in a vat of plastic, if I remember his story correctly.
He was
like
actually,
a phoenix.
Yeah.
Yes.
he emerged from the plastic.
Yeah,
our good friend Jonathan.
Yeah, 100%. But it's right. You go from such a thin film and replace it with such a heavy, non-woven that can't be recycled. Just by sheer volume, from transportation, from storage, like it just, again, it's that butterfly effect. It flaps its wings and all of a sudden paper's 15% higher.
Right.
Yeah.
I am excited about the cutlery ban. This is the thing that Paul was posting about. This plastic single-use cutlery is now banned in England, and consumers are going to either be required to bring their own, or stores, restaurants will provide wood cutlery, is what he mentioned, or metal. I believe those are kind of the options that are reusable.
Yeah, you know what else is made out of wood? Paper.
Chopsticks.
So again, same thing. We're replacing plastic with fibers that go to paper, which then increases the cost of paper, reduces the availability of paper. Again, it's like, so look, I'm not for more plastic out there, but I think we just have to make sure that we have a plan versus just this knee-jerk reaction to eliminating
certainly
everything.
A cart before the horse situation here.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say the only other thing is, not the only other thing. There's a lot going on. Like in terms of bringing in your own cutlery, right? And this has shifted away from packaging, but it still relates back to packaging. Is I haven't spent a long time in just in the food business and restaurants and stuff like that. You typically don't allow people to bring in their own product unless you can wash it, right? Because if I bring in my own cutlery and I'm bringing in E. coli one way or another, and then I enjoy your McFlurry or whatever it is that I'm eating and I get sick, it's the restaurant's responsibility. You know, so
Right.
typically, like, you know, on a to-go tray, anything like that, like that's kind of where you have to balance things out. So I don't know, it's kind of challenging. It's definitely challenging.
We'll have to sign waivers when we order fast
Yeah.
food. It's fascinating
You know,
stuff.
it was interesting because in the I spent a lot of time flying Delta, and so I'm in the Delta Sky Club
Mhm.
frequently.
Mm.
And I've noticed that they've actually pivoted away from the PLA compostable cutlery back to the kind of traditional plastic cutlery. And I'm curious if that was driven by a combination of cost and also end of life. I know I made quite a few videos about it. Like, you put it in here, you can control the collection, and I go to look and it just says I can either recycle something or I can throw it away. And so what's the point of doing all of this, right? If sorry, I got a little squirrel moment.
Yeah, I just saw Kirk stuff too.
Yeah.
Morning, Kirk.
Wait, what's happening up in? Is there a lot of rain? I'm like so oblivious to the news.
Huge flood. I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear Kirk's doing well.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, you know, Northern California, most of California, they've had all the wildfires, right? You burn
I'm
down
aware.
all of the, you know, low-laying brush, and then all of a sudden you've got all the heavy rain that we've been getting, and there's no brush or soil to actually absorb it. So you get massive mudslides. That was a big part of California every single year. It's not so much the earthquakes, it's the floods. It's the floods and the fires.
Right.
Yeah. But
they have
people are like 4 feet underwater at this point. It's insane.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's what I get for only paying attention to packaging news. Basketball news and packaging news. I have very limited knowledge base. But, you know, anyway, I thought that was interesting that
Mhm.
the Sky Clubs have been kind of pivoting away, and I'm not sure. Oh, Mikey jumped in here.
So why couldn't they provide you with metal cutlery? Aren't they? You're not going to take it with you. Couldn't they easily put in a dishwasher?
You could. I mean,
right.
Theoretically, and people do go in there, and you know, it's not uncommon for me if I'm at the airport, you know, 20 minutes before my flight's going to board,
Yeah.
I'll run in there, I'll grab some food, I'll grab some coffee, and then I'll leave, and I'll just walk to my. And so
you had a pocket full of spoons.
What's that?
You got a pocket full of spoons.
Yeah.
It's quite a conundrum we're in here. Yeah.
It's a pocket full of shells, I think, is.
You know, I've always seen silver, you know, like silverware in the Delta lounge. But yeah, I don't think you're walking out of there with it. And if you do, like, what's the cost?
Right.
Because you're reusing those forever, so it's got to be cheaper than trying to replace those things every single, you know.
Yeah, almost everyone during COVID pivoted
That's
away
true.
from silverware to single-use plastic
utensils. Kirk just sent a picture of his wooden fork and knife that he got yesterday in a restaurant near Santa Cruz, California.
Yeah, thanks, Kirk. Appreciate that picture of your silverware. Hope you enjoyed the meal.
Is that what this is?
Yeah. He just texted it over to us.
I know, I'm just kidding. I got
it. All right. So what? All right. So if somebody's out there, we got this. You got these plastic bans, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Adam, I'm sure the clients that you're working with, Cory, the clients that you're working with, you know, the clients that I work with, aren't just in one location, right? They've got distribution centers everywhere. They've got clients everywhere. So it really impacts everybody. What are you looking to do? You know, how do you move on from here? Like, what are you looking for now?
The comments just keep me going.
I know it's hard not to look at those comments. Thanks. Thanks.
So the hardest part, this is what I would say about that is, you know, what, regardless of what the industry is or where you are at, the packaging supplier can only be as educated as they can be, but ultimately it is up to the customer to know, you know, the rules and regulations and laws about where their products are going. And that's hard, but like, I remember when I was doing a lot of work in the cannabis space and people would come to me like, "Hey, what are the labeling laws for, you know, Michigan?" I'm like, "I don't freaking have any idea what the labeling laws are for Michigan. Like, do you want your labels or not?" They're like, "Well, can we buy this? Can we say this?" And I'm like, "I'm not your regulatory department."
Right. You
And of course,
can't.
they didn't have one. And so I'm like, at least I know enough to say
Yeah.
now, like, you can be equipped because you listen to the Packaging Today morning show every
That's right.
Mondays, every Monday at 8:30.
7:30. Yeah.
7:30 Pacific. But like, at least I can know enough now to say, hey, have you checked on if I was working for, you know, Landsberg, like, hey, are you shipping this into India?
That's a great company, by the way.
Yes, I've heard it's heard it's good. But if I were shipping into India, now I would know, like, hey, you bought this stretch wrap. I know that you do a lot of shipments internationally. Have you checked to make sure this whole pallet isn't going to get rejected in customs?
Right.
Not, I know that this is going to, or, you know, we can't be definitive because we're not the experts in it. They may have found a way to get it done, but
yeah,
at least we can know.
Yeah. You know, I got that brings up a question. My dogs are asking all sorts of questions.
Yeah. Hang on.
Yep.
The answer is cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon.
Perfect.
Let them know. Yeah.
Always the solution.
So we got so Paul Jenkins is on here. If you follow him, he posted a good question this week. Oh my gosh, these dogs.
Brilliant.
His question is, which of these sustainable initiatives are going to have the most focus in the packaging industry in 2023? Is it going to be refill, reuse, recycling, plastic reduction, or carbon footprint? And from today's conversation, it appears to be plastic reduction.
I think that's the headline. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that seems like that's a big conversation that's happening everywhere. But then my second question to you, Adam, is, and you, Cory, if a client is coming to you saying, you know, I'm shipping this into, you know, so-and-so location, is this material going to be okay? As a salesperson, as a representative of your company, you're saying that it's up to them to check, not up to you as the packaging professional to help them, or not necessarily
we
not
can
help them,
be
but
a guide, but we can't be the definitive. It's just like if somebody gives you artwork, it's not up to you to say whether or not this artwork is going to sell or land or connect with the customers. It's up for you to say, like, hey, we think we need to put some trapping in here over the, you know, these four color, or we need to pull back the art from the die line a little bit. Like, yes, we can be a guide to set them up for success, but like, the packaging company can't be the one who knows everything. You can know enough to ask the right questions, but I don't think that we can be the definitive source for, like, this is definitely not. Now, if you know it's not going to work, then great. I'll give you an example.
But that's true. Yeah.
When I worked for Fortis and we did compostable stick packs, and I would have people come to me quite frequently and say, like, hey, we want to move our stick packs into a compostable film. And I would say, okay, have you considered the barrier property is lower? Have you considered the cost is going to be 6 to 10x? Have you considered that the supply, you know, the supply is struggling right now to get it? Like, I'm happy, and I would say this a lot, I'm happy for you to pay more for what you're already buying as your sales rep. Like, kind of tongue in cheek, but it's like, have you considered these things? And every once in a while, someone would say, yes, we've considered it. And we are not okay with the amount of single-use plastic. We want to give people an opportunity to compost this, and we want to move forward. And you're like, okay, well, let's go and do a test, right? Like, I'm not the one to make that decision for them, whether or not it's right or wrong, but I am at least somewhat responsible to say, I'm educated enough to ask you the questions to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. And the most valuable reps and consultants will know that at least the basics, right?
Mhm.
And understand, well, you got to check on this. Here's a website you can refer to for this location in the world. And if they don't know, they need to tell them that they don't know, and that it's on them. Extended producer responsibility laws are very clear that the company that sells the item to the consumer is liable for the packaging, not the company that produced the packaging. So it's eventually on them. And so we need to all help them as much as we can.
But let me just add that
Hmm.
if you're not educated, while you may not have the responsibility, it's not hard to fire and find another packaging supplier.
Correct.
And so being educated, being a consultant, being somebody who knows, there's probably close to 300-400 packaging podcast episodes that people could go listen to between our 3 podcasts.
Right.
That's part of the reason why we try, is because we try to just push out information and have really interesting people on, is because I know that my ideas have shifted as new information has come in. I'm like, oh, I haven't actually thought about that. That's a good
Very true.
So being filled up with that kind of information means that, while yes, it is their responsibility, but if you are not educated, you're probably going to lose out to your competitors.
Exactly at that point. Exactly. We need to learn as much as we can and listen to great podcasts like People of Packaging, Sustainable Packaging Unboxed, right? Is that what it is now?
That's what it's always been, dude.
It's always been that. What are you talking about?
No, it's just interesting because I do get, we got like 3 minutes left here. So as we wrap up, I do get questions. And I work with Elisa, who posted up here earlier. We get questions in terms of, hey, what's regulatory in, this region or that region. And it's always difficult to push back. Because sometimes the brands don't have that internally. So it's like, oh yeah, how can I support you? Let me do some research. And then of course it's like, here's the chunk of information. And then the client can then make the decision themselves. Right. But it always feels like it falls short of customer service. At least for me personally, it's like, here's all the information that you got to make your own decision, which makes sense. But it's almost like I would love to be able to provide them like even just better service. Here's like exactly what regulations are in place, and here's what you have to do. But it's so fluid at this moment, and every country, every municipality is different, that it's impossible to do. And I can see how difficult it is for brands to make a decision one way or another. And in terms of like Canada, in Canada, you're not even allowed to produce single-use plastic there anymore, starting December of last year. Right. So just think of all the businesses that just had to pivot. Either you pivot or you die. And it's just such a harsh transition that
what about
that
double use packaging? Like, and I don't mean that like tongue in cheek. I mean like
double use would be reusable, right? And that's what Paul says is winning on his chart.
So like if like we reuse our LLDPE bags all the time for picking up dog poop, for trash liners, for kids things like. So it's like, I don't know, I always get a little confused, and they're like, that is a single use item, and I'm like, well, the bubble wrap is also a toy in our house. And so
I mean, dude, I'll I've got we reuse like our plastic cutlery. Like my kids will use it. They'll take it to school for like yogurt, and then they'll bring it home. And if they remember to wash it, they wash it, and they'll use it again.
You talked about your plastic straw. You've used it hundreds of times.
Yeah, dude. I think at this point, that same plastic straw has been used over 1,000 times, and that was ever since I spoke to Krista Armit, who's like, just because it's plastic and people call it single use doesn't mean you have to only use it once.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, duh. And I wash that straw thousands of times. I just use the same pink fat straw forever. And it's like, well, yeah, that makes a huge difference.
Amazing.
I mean, I've reused this reusable cup from Starbucks, I don't know, 50 to 100 times in our house.
Yeah.
Like, it's plastic. It's not recyclable.
Yeah.
But
I've had this so long the paint's wearing off.
Yeah. You've ingested, that paint in chunks. Don't worry about that second head growing.
It's gonna be
on
okay.
your neck.
It's gonna be okay.
Awesome, man. There's been a ton. We've covered a lot of information here.
we didn't even get to AI and patents. I'm sorry.
No, we didn't. So do yourself a favor this week. Google Apple patents. They've patented some new icons on their packaging and some new packaging structures. Which there's a website called Apple Patently, I think, or Apple Patents, and it just tracks all the patents that Apple submits. You can see where they're kind of going with this. So you'll see how packaging is changing for Apple, which is pretty cool. In terms of AI, do yourself a favor, check out Packaging AI here on LinkedIn. We're seeing a ton of stuff. Christine Barrington, who hops on here every once in a while, she learned how to do how to use Midjourney, and it was just great to see her post. She's developing a beef jerky product, and then somebody that's actually been in the beef jerky business in that space chimed in. He's like, hey, you should make these changes, and here's how you should start your business. And then they went back and forth on this feed. And it was just great to see somebody start from nothing to having a full concept, to having a conversation with somebody that's helping her like launch this business in a matter of an hour. So which was super, super cool. Last one here. We use all types of single-use plastics all the time in our house.
Thank you, Kelly.
The second. Yeah, that's right. Reuse, reduce, reuse. So
we should talk about the events coming up. We've got quite a few things going on that we're going to go to.
We do. One last minute, 30 seconds, go.
Yeah, Spec Right Summit is January 16.
Next week.
17, 18. Is that right?
Yeah, next week in
Nashville, Tennessee. Adam and I will be there doing all kinds of podcasts, speaking, all the things. A really exciting event. Spec Right, if you haven't heard of them, look them up. It's the number 1 spec management software.
Yep.
And then Evelio and I will be in Paris, January 20th through January 25th, 26th for Paris Packaging Week. I think, Adam, you're speaking at UW Stout sometime soon.
Yeah, in February I'll be at Stout. So that's exciting. And then in
Westpac.
May, we'll be at Westpac. That's right. The three of us will be at Westpac in February.
All three of us on the stage at the same time. Westpac, February 7th through 9th, right next door to Disneyland, Anaheim, California. I hope you can all make it.
Yep, that'll be great. And then, what do we got? Paris Packaging Week, then Westpac. Then I've got LuxPack coming up in New York. That'll be great. And then Milan Packaging Week as well. That'll be great. Hope to see you guys there.
You guys are making hundreds of dollars. It's incredible.
Dozens
of dollars.
That's right. Awesome, guys. Thanks so much. Keep posting questions in the comments. The three of us are always on here answering, providing any information. And if you're looking at luxury packaging, check out idpdirect.com. See you guys.
Live from Studio 3, this is Packaging Today with Evelio Matos.